there's never been anybody ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston, I'm Jack Dipsy, there's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw, there's no one that can match me.
No affiliation, why they thinking this ain't for debating? We the real, they really imitation. I be contemplating why this ain't no like heavy rotation on radio stations. I just pray the Lord give me patience, cause I'm running through these rappers like my name motivating. Shitting on these rappers, 9 to 5 is my occupation. Raw, you come in with your best troops, you best bring more. Already told you I got the juice like Orenthal. Already know what I'm about to do, bet your men fall. Everyone know that we got the truth, all your men falls. So boss, overtaking our enemies. Moves calculated and orchestrated like symphonies. Smooth operator, been bringing haters to misery. Top 5 list ain't shit unless you mention me. Yeah, that's why we don't associate. Fuck niggas make them more fuck niggas. Why they procreate, why they overhate. When their time is short and the moment late, let it culminate to they heart erase and palpitate. Cowards perpetrate like they little group is respectable. Talking intellectual, all of you homosexuals, faggots.
There's no one like me, I'm from Nairclaw, there's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart, I want to eat your children.
I don't want to congregate, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to fellowship, I ain't trying to build with you. Ain't the UPK, ain't the truth, keep it real with you. Defenders of the faith, I got no problem bumping heads with you. All that bullshit, you can take it over there with you. Rather be a houseboy, rather run with them field niggas. Show them to put in work, move mountain, crush hills, nigga. Take a dead soul, breathe life and make it live, nigga. No affiliation, so there's no one to compare with us. Took the Lord's laws and just added it with fear, nigga. Ain't for the body, cause you know that killer hit quicker. With these bars, I'm on my grizzly, so bear witness. You spit cold, I spit flu, don't compare sickness. You floss diamond, I floss fringes, don't compare dentist. You PK, we been to war, shit, we ain't Christian. Harm one of us, get pistol whipped like the gun got a belt with it. I'm bred different, the competition just a mill. I'm fed different, I stood front line on them fields, I bled different. I'd rather be a corpse than a coward. I'm led different. Shit, I'm led different. Come through like a juggernaut, so don't get in the way. And we take everything serious. We don't play. I wonder now what they gon' say. Shit, we make profits all the shooters like the NBA. You get slayed for switching sides, nigga. We ain't on the same page. Immaculate conception. Wow. These niggas bitch made. I'm sticking with the foundation where my bricks laid. You switch sides, I'd rather switch cage. You was never with us, nigga. Just know we on mission, nigga. Right hand hold the scriptures, nigga. Left hand hold the pistol, nigga. How you want it? You can get it spiritual and physics, nigga. Wrong ones to come against, so bring an army with you. No affiliation. When you see us, make the difference with us. No affiliation. When you see us, know we different, nigga. No affiliation. So no, you can't kick it with us. The wrong ones to come against, bring an army with you.
Looking at my people and the casualties, misunderstood for having some morality, but my people dance spirituality. Lord knows, just a young Hebrew from Killer, California. Used to thug in the street with no sense of order. Used to love to press the line, even test the water, and almost lost my life from slanging and hanging on that corner. I learned to cut the grass so I could see the snakes. I had to decipher between the real and fake. And nowadays all these niggas do is hate, treat you like a bitch, sit back and try to manipulate. Yeah, that's why I got it on my own too. You see me rockin' with the Hebrews. UPK is how we do, stand for the Lord. The mother niggas is see-through. Wake your game up, my nigga. Ain't no time for this shit. I know you sitting back thinking that life is a bitch. Yes, my nigga, I understand. My nigga, I feel your pain. Yeah. My nigga, we gotta change. This for the cane, this for the cane.
It's safe to say
be cursed today, trying to find another way, but all they do is take away. Trying to pray the fake away, while trying to find a safer way. So we can face to face.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Shalom Bmore, you understand? We the Isupk, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, coming straight out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And this is the scripture breakdown class, you feel me? You know, we're going to go into these scriptures and we're going to, you know, the one thing I always like to bring out, a lot of things that our people hear us say out our mouths, these are not our words. These words are from the Most High himself, you understand? Like, that's what a prophet and a priest is supposed to do. You know, teach the oracles of the Most High, not the oracles of himself. You see what I'm saying? And this is what we're going to get in the scripture. What it is the problem that we have as a people is that because we've come up under such poor leadership, the things that the Isupk say, the earth has not heard. At least our people, we have not heard it. So it seems so foreign, it seems so aggressive. That's what they always say, y'all too aggressive, you know. No, it ain't that we too aggressive, you know. The Christian church is not aggressive at all, that's the problem. You know, but we're going to get into these scriptures, man. We're going to show, tonight we're going to bring out how we got to choose the Most High. Like, we got to make a conscious decision to choose the Most High instead of choosing this world, man. Instead of doing the things of this world and becoming a part of this society we're enslaved in, instead of us becoming part of this culture, man, we got to choose the Lord and his culture. You understand? That's what we're going to find in these scriptures. Like, the Most High actually has a culture in which he has high holy days that we're supposed to be celebrating. You understand? Like, a lot of our people don't know that. You know, which is a crying shame considering that you got a Christian church on damn near every corner in every major black city. You see what I'm saying? Like, I know here in Baltimore in particular, you know, if we bring up our holy days and we go to Leviticus the 23rd chapter, you know, pretty much where these high holy days are mentioned and listed, what our people say, oh, those are Jewish holidays. You see what I'm saying? Like, we give the Lord's culture away to a bastard, man. We give the Lord's culture away to a person that's posing. He's posing and trying to be us, you understand? We give him our culture. Like, we give the Lord's culture right away to him. You understand? Like, every black, Hispanic, and Native American man, woman, and child, like, these high holy days in these scriptures, this is our culture, man. Like, we are the Jews of the Bible. When it speaks of Judah in the Bible, when it starts speaking of the Jews and the Israelites of the Bible, every black, Hispanic, and Native American man, woman, and child, like, this is talking to us. It's not talking to nobody else on the face of this earth. You know, it's not talking like these other nations. What you see them do is they try to bring themselves into the fold by saying, oh, we're spiritual Israelites. You know, we keep the law, statutes, and commandments too. And as long as you keep the law, statutes, and commandments, you know, for God so loved the world, you understand? But listen, that's not the case. And we're going to get that in the scriptures, man. We're going to show how, listen, being a friend to this world, man, like, us befriending this world and trying to be a part of this culture and joining its ways and stuff like that. Like, when we celebrate holidays in this nation as blacks, Hispanics, and natives, we're essentially telling God that he don't matter. We're essentially choosing this world over our high power. You understand? The Most High. And this is what we got to come out of, man. Because every time we do that, you know, we all know every holiday we get murdered. You know, I think just the last holiday in Baltimore, Memorial Day, and I know it's like this. It probably was like this in all major, you know, black cities. You understand? Like, it was like 12 or 13 homicides in a two-day stretch. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what happens when we take part in this culture, man, that the Lord don't want us to be a part of. This is what happens when we choose our oppressor and we don't choose God. You understand? So we got to come out of that mindset, man. We got to make a conscious decision to choose the Most High. If I could, Bubba Kashad, could I get James 4:4. We're going to get this in the scripture, man. And a lot of these scriptures, mind you, this is the New Testament. This is the New Testament. A lot of times the Christian pastor teach that the Old Testament is done away with. You understand? Like, this is the New Testament. We're going to hear what the Lord say.
God, the book of James 4 verse 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God?
Here it is. The Most High is calling us adulterers and adulteresses. You understand? Now, we know the definition. Well, maybe we don't. So we're going to break that down first. An adulterer is a male. An adulteress is a female. You understand? The way a man commits adultery is not by sleeping with another woman outside of his wife. That's not adultery. You know, for any man. That man, as long as that woman is single, he can sleep with as many women as he wants to. That's just his wife. They're just going to be considered his wives from that point on. You understand? So for a man to commit adultery, that man must sleep with the wife of another man. And if that man sleeps with a wife of another man, he's an adulterer. And for the female, if a female sleeps with any man outside of her husband, she's an adulterer. She's an adulteress. You understand? But in this context, the adulterer and adulteresses that is talking about, we've committed spiritual adultery against the Most High. You understand? We've chosen false gods to serve instead of serving the God of Israel, man. This is why it says, ye adulterers and adulteresses. This is talking to blacks, Hispanics, and natives, you understand? Because we've started serving everything under the sun except for the one God that actually can help us, you know? The one God that actually loves us, you understand? It's, you keep going up the show?
Okay. Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world.
Hey, so like, can you back it up to where you say, no, you're not?
God, James 4 verse 4. Ye adulterer and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God?
They say, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God. You understand? Like, enmity is opposition. Like, if we're to be a friend with this world, with this society that we were enslaved in, that we're still enslaved in, if we want to be friends with this world, guess what? We make ourselves enemies to the Lord, man. We're in direct opposition to the Most High, our God. Now, in a Christian's mind, it says, how can that be? Because in John 3:16, it said, you know, for God so loved the world, you know, we're going to get there and we're going to break that down too. But guess what? The Most High is telling us right now that friendship of this world is enmity, which is opposition to the Most High. You keep going, Brother Sean.
Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God.
It is. I mean, it don't get no plainer than that, no clearer than that. If we want to be a friend to this world, that means that we're an enemy to the Most High. We're an enemy to the Most High. That's what that says. Like, to be a friend of this world is essentially to deny the Most High himself. Because we saying, listen, though you've given us law, statutes, and commandments to follow, though you've given us a moral compass to live by, we're going to choose this world over here in which we can do anything we want to do. We can sin against you. We can be homosexuals. We can be drug addicts. We can be drug dealers, you understand? And even though it's not our culture, this is not the culture you gave us, but we're going to follow that and we're going to leave you alone. That's essentially what we're telling the Most High once we become friends with this world, because that's what this world is for. This is what this world promotes. You understand? If I could, Brother Kashar, could you drop that and go over to Matthew 10 and 33?
Sure. In the book of Matthew 10 and verse 33. But whosoever shall deny me before men.
It is to say, but whosoever shall deny me before men. Like the Most High is great. Like this is in red. When we see this in red, that means that this is words coming out of Christ's own mouth. He said, but whosoever shall deny me before men. So everything that Christ taught came from the Most High. These laws, statutes, and commandments in this Bible, man, are the records, are the oracles of the Most High. Christ didn't even teach of his own will or his own accord. Christ taught the same thing that the prophets of old taught. You understand? So it said, but whosoever should deny me before men, man, I ain't trying to hear that God nonsense, man. Man, Christ ain't gonna crack that sky, man. Man, I ain't gotta keep them laws no more, man. Them laws done away with. I eat what I want to eat. All I gotta do is pray over it. You see what I'm saying? When we do that, we deny Christ before men. Let's hear what Christ had to say.
Him will I also deny before my Father, which is in heaven.
Here it is. Christ just said, him will I also deny before my Father, which is in heaven. That's a dangerous place to be in. That is a dangerous place, because if Christ is the intermediate, he's the mediator between us and the Most High. Like we can't come to Christ unless the Most High calls us to him. And we can't get to the Most High unless we go through Christ. Right? It's Christ saying, listen, if you deny me, guess what? I'm going to deny you in front of my Father and say, nah, this ain't no brother of mine. So if Christ denies us in front of his Father, the Most High himself, what hope do we have? What hope do we have other than, getting our heads beat in the streets again? You understand? Like, we have no hope in this kingdom. Like, the hope, like the scripture speaks on the faith and patience of the saints. You understand? The faith and patience of the saints is knowing that if we keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, man, the Lord is going to come back and he's going to redeem us, man. He's going to restore us to the authority that we should have in this earth. But if we get denied by the Most High, we have no hope in nothing. And unfortunately, this is the lifestyle that we've been living, because we became friends to a world that we should have always left alone. You understand? We've taken on their holidays. What Biden just gave us, he just gave us a crumb from his table and said, listen, we're going to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. Juneteenth means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing, you feel me? Because even when we were so-called freed from slavery, we still had to go right back to that plantation to work for that same man that had us in chains and shackles, because we had nothing else that we could have done. We ain't got our own land. We ain't got our own businesses. We ain't got nothing of our own. We got to go to our oppressor for every single thing. We got to go to him for toilet paper. We got to go to him for water. Like, if we don't pay the what they call it, the taxes on our house, they'll put a lien on the property. You understand? The oppressor turn the water off in your house. You see what I'm saying? Like, we got to go to him for water that comes freely out the sky. Like, we still are slaves in this kingdom. But listen, they said we're going to legalize Juneteenth. He gave us a crumb. You understand? And by him giving us that crumb, what we're going to do is we're going to give him our dire loyalty. You understand? And this is what Christ is talking about, man. Every time we give our loyalty to this kingdom and we become friends with this kingdom, we essentially deny Christ, man. And when we do that, Christ denies us in front of his Father, man. And that's the position we don't want to be in. If I could, can I get John 3:16? We're going to break down this because, we just read in James 4:4 where it said, if we are friends of this world, we're enemies to God. But I know right now that Christian that's sitting home is saying, but for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, so how are we supposed to hate it? Man, the Bible is contradicting itself, you understand? Like, we're going to get in scriptures and we're going to understand what this scripture really means, you understand?
The book of John, the 3rd chapter and the 16th verse. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son.
It is to say, for God so loved the world. That word world has many definitions. It means age and or society. You understand? The term, that word world does not mean the entire earth. That's why, like, if you look at, you got what? You got Sea World, you got Wild World, you got the Animal World, you got the Sea World. You know, the so-called oppressor, he got his own world that's separate from the black man's world. You see what I'm saying? Like, all it means is age and or society. That does not mean the entire earth. It say, for God so loved the world that he taught, the world that's being spoken of right now is the Israelite world. This is the world that's being spoken of right now. The world of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. For God so loved the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you understand, that he gave his only begotten son. You understand? Like, Christ did not come to die for our oppressor. Like, if Christ had to die for our oppressor, he didn't have to die. You understand? Because, like, what was he redeeming? Like, they're ruling the earth right now. They're in their glory. So what purpose of it is for Christ to come, like, for Christ to have to give his life, you understand? Go ahead, sir.
Can you break down Isaiah 45 and 7?
Come, who's going there next?
Go ahead, handle your business.
Come. Yeah, we're gonna go over to Isaiah 45 and 17, and we're gonna get that real quick. Let's see, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 45 and verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Most High with an everlasting salvation.
This is saying Israel right here. You understand? Like, this is talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It say Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Keep going, sir.
Ye shall not be ashamed, nor confounded, world without end.
There's that term world again. They say you should not be be ashamed nor confounded. Like, right now as blacks and Hispanics, we're ashamed to be who we are. You understand? Like, we're confounded to be who we are in this earth. You understand? That's why a lot of us don't even want to be considered who we are. Like, we look at black as a curse. You understand? Like, black is a condition, understand? But, like, for us to know our true identity and our true heritage, understand? Like, we're ashamed of it. The Most High say, listen, check this out. We are going to be, he said, ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. Meaning, this is the nation of Israel that's being spoken of. So that same world that was talking about Israel in Isaiah 45 and 17 is the same world that's being spoken of in John 3:16. And if I could, sir, can I get Psalms 90 and 2, Baba Kashan?
Sure.
We're going to show that there's a difference between the term world and the term earth. When we hear the term world, that's not talking about everything here. Like, again, like I said, it's age or society. And we're going to get that in the scriptures.
The book of Psalms, chapter 90 and verse 2. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hadst formed the earth and the world.
It say before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hast formed the earth. The earth is like what we walk on. You understand? Like, we walk on the earth every day. The earth is the embodiment of everything here. It said the earth and the world. The world is the different societies that's inside of the earth. You understand? Keep going, Baba Kashan.
Done. Or ever thou hadst formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God.
It is. We got the term earth and world. They're side by side. That's how you know that they're two different things. You understand? It would be unnecessary if they were the same thing to put them back to back. The Most High is making the distinction between the term earth and world. Earth is everything. Like I said, earth is everything. There's this planet that we're on. This is earth. World is the different societies, the different lifestyles that's encompassed in this earth. So when John 3:16 speaks of, when John 3:16, for God so loved the world, that world that God so loved was the world of Israel that we just read in Isaiah 45 and 17. You understand? Like, God loved Israel so much that he gave his only begotten son for us, man. So that we can come back from the sin that we're in, you understand? So that we can come back to the Most High from being gangbangers, from being murderers, from being killers, you understand? From being drug dealers and drug addicts and homosexuals. The Most High gave us a way to get back to him. That's the world that the Most High loves so much, you understand? And this is what the scriptures are bringing out. Like, the term earth means this globe that we're under. The world is just the different societies that's inside of it, that's encompassed inside this earth as we speak, you understand? If I could, let me get Acts 2 and 21. Because we're going to break down that whosoever too. You understand? Because a lot of times they say, well, say whosoever, so that means everybody. That don't mean everybody. And we got to understand with John 3:16, this was a conversation between two Israelite brothers. You understand? Like, if you amongst your family and you say whoever do such and such, you understand, they gonna get this prize. You ain't talking to anybody outside your home. You ain't talking to anybody outside this circle that you're speaking to. You were talking to the audience that you have right there, and that's the context in 3:16. But that whosoever, we're gonna find out who that whosoever is as well.
We in the King James 1611 Bible, the book of Acts, chapter 2 and verse 21. And it shall come to pass. And it shall come to pass,
meaning this is going to happen in the earth, you understand? Like, these records are going to happen as we see it forth, you understand?
That whosoever shall call on the name of the Most High shall be saved.
Hey, Salaki, sir, we got to pack everything up. We got to shut the Isupk down, you feel me? Because, you feel me? Like, they got us now. They say, whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. You feel me? Yeah. That means that anybody who say, Lord, please forgive me, I want to be saved, right now, like, they got us now, right?
Yeah.
Salaki, we got to get verse 22 now. We got to see, we got to pack up.
The book of Acts, chapter 2 and verse 22. Ye men of Israel.
Ye men of Israel. This is talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans right now, you understand? Good.
Hear these words.
Here's the thing. It says, ye men of Israel, hear these words. So that verse in verse 22, that whosoever was speaking to the men of Israel. You understand? The Most High said, hear these words. You understand? Like, whosoever in verse 21 is the same whosoever that's in John 3:16. Because it's the audience in which the writer was speaking to. You understand? So this was the conversation in John 3:16 that was being had. So when you say whosoever, this is not talking about everybody outside of this conversation. This is not talking about everybody outside of this, who my audience, so to speak. This is talking about who's ever here. Here in Isupk, if we say whosoever, we're talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And you know how the earth really understand it? We're the only ones that don't understand it. If we go to the Constitution, right, it said all men are created equal, right? But the audience that was there was only white men. We were still slaves, so how can we be equal? You understand? So the Constitution can say that all men are created equal, and it's understood that it's speaking to the audience that was there, which is the white people, or was the white man. The same way they can understand that, you got to understand these scriptures where it says, for whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved, ye men of Israel, hear these words. You understand? Like, the Most High is concerned with Israel. So we should be concerned with the Most High. This is why we got to stop choosing every other false god and every other nation before we choose the God of our forefathers. You understand? If I could, let me get Let me get Jeremiah 2:13.
Okay.
We gotta learn to love the Most High, man. To serve the Most High, not serve these beasts that we're under, these savages that we're under, the devil that we're under. You understand? Like, we gotta understand, but we gotta come back and choose the Most High's culture. We gotta choose the Most High's ways, and once we do that, we'll see that who we supposed to be in this earth. We've been on the downslide since we've been over here in this land. The Most High says, listen, the meek shall inherit the earth. He wasn't talking about everybody. He was talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. You got that, sir?
Come. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 2 and verse 13. For my people have committed two evils.
And say, for my people have committed two evils. You understand? Like, the Most High is going to break down the evils that we've committed against them. You understand? Keep going.
They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns.
They say they have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters. You understand? Them living waters is the truth, man. Them living waters is these laws, statutes, and commandments. Like, we have forsaken the Most High. Like, to forsake the Most High means we turn our back on the Most High and we choose something else in contradiction to Him. Like, this is one of the things we've done. You understand? And it said, and hewed them out cisterns. A cistern is like a vase. It was something that was used to hold like water or some kind of liquid. You understand? Keep going, sir.
Broken cisterns.
Broken cisterns. Good, sir.
That can hold no water.
And these cisterns, these broken cisterns that's being spoken of, these are the religions that we've created. You understand? This is the Christianity that we seek to live by. You understand? Like, these are the cisterns. That's why the Most High call them broken cisterns. They can hold no water, because if you got if it's supposed to hold water and it's broke, it's not serving its purpose. We've hewed out, meaning, like, when they say we've and hewed them out cisterns, that means that we've created, we've carved out something for ourselves. You understand? And that's what we did with religion. We've carved out different religions that we could serve to pretty much allow us to serve the same oppressor that took us away from the Most High. The Most High said these are broken religions that can hold no water, meaning it can hold no truth in them. You see what I'm saying? Christianity can hold no truth. That's why we can speak so bold against it, because Christianity is a farce. Meaning it's a lie. You see what I'm saying? Nothing that we've learned in Christianity is according to these scriptures. Christianity is nothing but a vessel of white supremacy. You understand? That teaches a black man to hate himself and love our oppressor. Like, that's all it is. But this is something that we've created. You know, and these are the two offenses that the Most High have against us. First of all, we forsook Him. We turned our back on the Most High. We walked away from Him. And then when we walked away from the Most High, we actually went and started our own religion. We started serving false gods and saying and put His name on it and put the Most High's name on it. You understand? Like, this is the problem that the Most High has had with us. But this is why we got to learn to choose the Most High. You understand? The Isupk is the only place, the only sanctuary for every black, Hispanic, and Native American to come. You see what I'm saying? Because outside of these doors, this truth is not going to be taught unless we on the streets teaching it. You see what I'm saying? But this is why we got to get in the class, man. This is why we got to get on. Go to isupk.com and call them numbers on that website. You understand? Get into contact with a prophet or priest of the Lord, man, and understand what do we got to do to draw back to the Most High. Like, this is our duty as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. This is what we got to do. The Most High say we've committed two evils. We've turned our back on the Most High, and we've chosen false gods and created for ourselves false gods and we started serving them false gods, but we won't serve the Most High. You understand? And we already read earlier what happens when, pretty much when we don't want we deny Christ in front of man. Christ is going to deny us in front of the Father. And this is the issue that we're having. This is why we see so much death in our communities. This is why we see so much disease, and pestilence, and poverty. Like, this is why we're not in full control of this earth the way the Most High intended it to be. Like, these nations should be under us, learning from us. Like, we should not have an oppressor over us deciding our fate or deciding what kind of punishment is going to fit the crime that we've committed. You feel me? Like, that's not the lifestyle that we should be living. We should be living a lifestyle in which we're the ones that's pretty much implementing the rules, implementing the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, and enforcing these other nations to follow and keep them as well. Like, that's our role in the earth. That's what we should be doing. But because we chose to follow false gods, because we've chose to deny Christ in front of men, because we've forsaken the Most High and carved out religions for ourselves, because we've done those things, man, we're on the bottom of every totem pole when it comes to, you know, anything beneficial in this earth, man. And it's not just here in America; it's everywhere Israelites are. You know, you go to Jamaica. Jamaica, you know, for all of the vacationing and the resorts and stuff like that, the Jamaicans are not receiving that money. It's not going to fund the Jamaican economy. You know, it's going to fund them Spaniards. You understand? Like, we're in poverty everywhere we go in this earth, man. And guess what? It's designed that way because we've shunned the Most High, man. We've turned our backs on the Most High. Go ahead, sir. Come. Let me get that one scripture real quick. Isaiah 51 and 23. There is something that we can do, Mo. Like, we gotta, once we come back to keeping these law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High is going to turn the tide for us. He's going to turn the tide for us, you understand? And he's going to pretty much, well, let's get in the scripture.
Good.
We can start in 22, Brother Kashan.
Good. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 51 and verse 22, thus saith thy Lord, the Lord, and thy God that pleadeth the cause of his people, behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling.
Like, this is the Most High telling every black, Hispanic, and Native American, man, you understand? Like, they say, and thy God that pleadeth the cause of his people. Like, Israel, we are the Lord's people. You understand? I say, I've taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling. Like, that cup of trembling is that fear that we feel when we leave our homes. That either the police gonna get us or the gangbanger gonna get us. We might get fired from the job today. Like, we, as a whole, not in the UPK, you understand? Because we understand that the Most High is going to be with us because we got to serve him and we keep his law, statutes, and commandments, man. But unfortunately, for our brothers and sisters who maybe they've never heard this before, you understand? And the Christian church is the only thing that they've ever heard in their life, and they feel like they ain't got to follow the Most High. Here's the thing. Like, I think LeBron James came out and said it one time. He said, listen, man, we scared out here. It's a multi-billionaire, you feel me? He said, we're scared. Because we don't know if we get pulled over by the police if we going to make it through that encounter, you know? Like, this is the trembling that the Most High is speaking of right now. Keep going over the show.
Mm-hmm. Good. Even the dregs of the cup of my fury, thou shalt no more drink it again.
I say, even the dregs of the cup of my fury, that cup of the, like, what people don't understand, like, the Christian church teaches that the Most High is all love and he just smiles at you all day. He don't hate the sinner, but he hates the sin. You see what I'm saying? But guess what? The cup of the Lord's fury is death. The Most High kills people. You understand? Like, the Most High, you think it's a coincidence that 400 murders happen in a city like Baltimore every year? That is, every major black city, we dying left and right, diseases, we gotta get legs cut off, we gotta get, we have so many afflictions. Like, do we think that's just a coincidence? No, that's the cup of the Lord's fury. But the Most High is saying, listen, you come back to doing what I tell you to do, and being the son that I know you can be, you understand? Thou shalt not drink this no more again. The Most High is saying, you ain't gotta feel this way, you ain't gotta go through that. Like here in Isupk, we don't have to go through that, man. And it's not saying that everything is going to be easy for us once we start serving the Lord. That's not what it's saying. But what it's saying is you don't have to have the fear that you once had in the world because you was not serving the Lord. When you serve the Lord, you just realize that if something comes, the Lord is going to be with you, man. You just got to stay the course, man, and do what you know you should be doing. Get verse 23, Brother Kasha.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 51, verse 23. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee.
It is. It say, but I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee. You understand? Right now, we are being afflicted by every nation on the face of this earth. You understand? The chief one being this Esau, the so-called white man, the colonizer, our oppressor. You understand? Like the Most High said, I'm going to take it out of your hand. Like he's going to take it out of every black man and Hispanic and Native man hand, and he's going to put it into the hand of him who afflicts us. You understand? Keep going, Brother Bishop.
Which have said to thy soul, bow down.
Which have said to our soul, bow down. You understand? Like this is what our oppressor does to us. It's not good enough that we go and do what we're responsible for in His kingdom. We got to bow down. Like he has to take our soul. You understand? We have to be oppressed and smile and sing while we're being oppressed. You understand? It's not good enough for us to feel a little bit of anger because we're being oppressed and murdered in the streets. We actually got to smile and listen to corny jokes. You see what I'm saying? And be around them and act like nothing's wrong with us. You understand? He wants our soul. Keep going, Brother Bishop.
Bow down that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the street to them that went over.
It is. This is talking about how they murder us in these streets, man. You understand? Like they want our soul, and then they murder us with reckless abandonment. You understand? Like a brother ain't got to be doing nothing wrong. He ain't got to be committing no kind of offense. You understand? These people, they will kill us and walk right over our body. You understand? The Most High is going to put this cup of trembling and this fury into the hands of the oppressor. And we're going to bring out a story because this one oppressor, Rudy Giuliani, you understand? For all that he's done against black people, he did this stop and frisk. You know how many brothers that was murdered because of stop and frisk that was never reported? How many brothers that went to jail unjustly because of stop and frisk? Like, he did this to the Lord's people, man. But here's the thing, he was never punished for that. He was never punished for that because this is the Lord's people it's happening to. But guess what? The Lord did not forget it. The Lord did not forget it, and the Lord is always going to get his payback. He's always going to, if you touch the Lord's people, he's going to put that cup of fear, that cup of trembling, he's going to put it in your hand, you understand? This is what these other nations got to know. And we're going to get a story because we're going to hear what's going on with this Rudy Giuliani. He wasn't, the beginning of his punishment is starting to happen. You understand? But it ain't happening because what he's done to the Lord's children. We're going to find out why. You got that story, sir?
Sure.
Interrupt our chat with Nancy Cordes to bring you some breaking news out of New York, where a state court has suspended the president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani's law license, the former president, I should say. This comes after a special panel found that
former lawyer.
And former lawyer. Thank you, Anne-Marie. This comes after this panel found that Rudy Giuliani lied about widespread election fraud during the 2020 race when he was serving as former President Trump's personal attorney. So for more on this, let's get straight to CBS News legal contributor and former Manhattan prosecutor Rebecca Roiphe. She's joining us on the telephone. Rebecca, I'm not sure if you had a chance to read this brief, but can you break down for our audience why Rudy Giuliani's license to practice was suspended?
Yes, the decision is based on allegations that he lied to the public, to lawmakers, and to the court. And for those lies, which violate New York rules of professional conduct, the ruling is that his license will be suspended pending more formal proceedings. And so, that's significant. I mean, the whole thing is hugely significant, but that's significant because in order to suspend his license pending the proceedings, the court had to find that he was an immediate threat to the public with his continued license. So, this is big news.
So the filing says that Giuliani made false statements and misled the courts and lawmakers and the public about fraud in the 2020 election. So is this about like a violation of an ethics code for lawyers, or does it carry even more weight? Is this about perjury?
This is not about perjury. This is solely about his violation of the ethics code for lawyers in New York. And it's important to note that, there are various different rules that have to do with honesty in the ethics code, and the ones that are really clear-cut are about lying in court. And it is clear that, if he lied in court, that is appropriate for the authorities to go after his law license. That is completely not allowed. What's a little bit more complicated is his lies to the public, because lawyers are in this weird position where they are both officers of the court, and then they act on behalf of clients and in their own personal capacity. And in those latter regards, they really do have normal First Amendment rights. So his claim, his defense was based in part on the fact that many of these statements were protected by the First Amendment. So, we'll see how this all plays out, but it's not over yet.
Rebecca, I'm just looking at some of the wording in this decision, and it's kind of mind-boggling because this is the personal attorney to the President of the United States. And here's what some of it says. We conclude that there is uncontroverted evidence that respondent communicated demonstrably false and misleading statements to courts, lawmakers, and the public at large in his capacity as lawyer for former President Donald J. Trump and the Trump campaign in connection with Trump's failed effort at re-election in 2020. There's even a part of this decision, Rebecca, where it points to the fact that Rudy Giuliani lied repeatedly for months about the number of ballots that Pennsylvania mailed, and when he was challenged in court, in a court of law, he couldn't defend the claim. He blamed some unnamed staff member for feeding him the line that he said he got off some website, or the staff member got on some website. And when this got before the judges, they found that they couldn't even find proof of that.
Right. So, in order for a lie to be unprofessional conduct and warrant this kind of suspension, it has to be a knowingly false statement. So the person who's making it can't just have made a mistake. They have to know that they were lying. And so that's the question here. He tries to, part of his defense here is, I didn't know. It was false. Oh, yes. Oops, my bad. I didn't know that because my staffer just gave me this information and I, went about and represented it in that particular regard. So the court found that not credible, as you suggest, because it actually went and looked and there was no record of a different statement on the Pennsylvania website. There was nothing that could have supported his suggestion that he didn't know that this was a lie. Now, again, this is going to be fully litigated, and maybe he'll find more proof. There will be more formal proceedings up and coming, but it is worth noting that the court just didn't buy it here, and it is, I as a former prosecutor, you really never like that experience.
It's like, so here it is, like we see the spirit of this oppressor, right? Like the Most High is going to start putting that trembling, start giving them that cup of trembling, you understand? Like this is just the beginning. Like this is their civil war that the Lord is going to bring upon them. And he's going to expose their crimes, you understand? Like it's going to start coming out, but guess what? They're going to start getting punished. But what we need to be doing is we need to be coming back to keeping these law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? Like the Lord told us this already. Matter of fact, let's get Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and 10. You understand? Like what we seeing happen right before our eyes. This is nothing that we should be surprised about. Because if we get into these scriptures, the Lord tells us and warns us of how they operate. You understand? We're gonna get that in the scripture. But the problem is that we grew up in the Christian church, come from Christian homes, and they don't teach the Bible in that place. You understand? So like that's the issue that we have right now. But Barakatah Yahweh Yahushua for the Isupk, man. You understand? Like the Most High has set up his priests and prophets in his Isupk, man, to bring this truth out, and ain't nothing gonna stop it. You got that, brother, for sure?
The Apocrypha, the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 10, never trust thine enemies.
They say never trust thine enemies. You understand? Like, we are never to trust this oppressor, man. Like the Lord been told us that. Like, imagine, like, if we would have just listened to our Father, man. Imagine we listened to the Most High and just did what he said. Instead of questioning, is this valid? Is this book a part of is this book valid and all that? That's the argument. The Most High just told us never trust thy enemy. Keep going, Brother Bishop.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
Listen, because just as like as iron rusteth, you understand? Like iron is something. It's a pretty shiny metal. You understand? You use it. It looks good once it's first installed, but you leave it to its element. You let rain and you let snow and sun keep beating on it. It's going to begin to rust. You're going to see the ugliness of it. You understand? The Most High said, never trust thy enemy. Because sure as iron rusteth, that iron is surely going to rust. It says, so is his wickedness, man. This oppressor that we're under, I don't care how nice we think he is. I don't care how for the people you think he is, you understand? We are never to trust him because this is a wicked beast, man. The Lord is telling us, just like that iron is going to rust up, even though it looked pretty, so is his wickedness going to show itself, man. And we've known this, like as blacks, Hispanics, and natives, we've innately known this for years, since our inception. This is why we beef with him in the belly of our mother's womb. You understand? We was fighting in the womb. Like, we've always known that he was an evil, wicked bastard, man. But the Most High is telling us this because the Most High is trying to give us a game plan. Listen, don't trust this man. He's going to be wicked toward you. You understand? Like, you deal with him a certain way. The Christian church tells us that, for God so loved the world, so we got to forgive and forget everything that's happened to us, man. That's the problem with Christianity. Is because once we come under that philosophy, we no longer can see the oracles of God. We can no longer see it. Like when we come under that philosophy, we begin to hate each other, and we begin to love him, love our oppressor, man. We begin to choose his ways instead of the Most High's ways. Like this is what we do, man. Like this is what we do. We'll choose this oppressor, and we'll choose these false gods before we choose the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. Listen, we've got to come back to keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, man, and come back to serving the Most High. It is critical. it is life-threatening if we do not. You understand? Like, it's that critical right now. Because we see the kind of beast that we're under. Like, the reporter he was astonished. He said, what's the most puzzling part is, you know, this was the lawyer to the President of the United States. The so-called powerfulest man in the world, the President of the United States, had a lawyer who was lying to his people. He was lying to his people, you understand? The Lord's people, we should have known he was lying because of who he was. You understand? The Most High tells us who he is. The Most High tells us how to deal with them. You understand? Realize that none of them are to be trusted. Even that one we think is cool that we go to work with, man. Even that one that's cool that, you know, now that they try to live amongst us, you know, they try to befriend us, they try to come off a certain kind of way. Listen, don't trust it. You understand? Let's listen to the words of these of the Most High. If we could, let's drop that. Let me get Psalms 55 and 21. Baruch Hashem.
Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
This is the so-called oppressor, the so-called white man, you understand? The words of his mouth are smoother than butter, you know? He'll beguile and deceive us easy, you understand? He talks all these pleasant words, what he's going to do for us. What Joe Biden said, you ain't black unless you vote for me, right? You ain't black unless you vote for me. He ain't say, you know, you're not an Asian if you don't vote for me. He ain't say nothing like that. He said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. You understand? We had the oppressor tell us how. The oppressor gave us the guideline on how to be black. You understand? His words were smoother than butter. Keep going, Baruch Hashem.
But war was in his heart.
But war was in his heart, you understand? This is the product, or this is the spirit behind every oppressor that we have, you understand? Joe Biden said, listen, you ain't black unless you vote for me. But the first thing he did was give a bill for transgenders and give a bill for Asians. That way when an Asian shoot out kid, you feel me, he can go and get a $10,000 bail, you understand, and be right back out on the street. But if you retaliate and you go and put your hands on that Asian, guess what? It's a federal offense. We're going to lose our job. We're going to lose our house. We're going to lose our car. We're going to lose our family. But he can shoot our children and get out on the $10,000 bond. You understand? Like, this is how his words are smoother than butter, but war's in his heart. You understand? And we've got to understand this, man. By choosing him over the Most High, we essentially forfeit our protection in this earth, man. Because we know we don't have protection when it comes to being a nation. Like the people that's supposed to protect us is the ones that hunt us, right? Now, when I say that, I'm saying according to the world standard. These police out here, the military, they supposed to be protecting everybody has American citizenship. Unless you're black, Hispanic, and Native American. You understand? They will kill with a reckless abandonment, you understand? And by the way, we still ain't heard nothing from this so-called president of the United States about what's going on and the status of our brothers on this border, man. We still haven't heard enough about where them kids at that's been taken and not heard from, you understand? We still ain't got no word on that yet. You understand? Kids, you know, going missing. They supposed to be going to camps and stuff like that, you feel me? And they never showing up to the camps. Like, where are our children at, man? You see what I'm saying? Like, this is the beast that we're under. So when we choose him over the Most High, guess what? We essentially saying, listen, we don't give a damn about what the Most High, we don't give a damn about the Most High, but when we do that, we got to realize that the Most High is going to have that same attitude towards us, man. Yeah, the Most High do love us, and the Most High sent his son, and his son gave his life to allow us to come back. But this grace period that we have, like the Christian church teaches that this grace period is something that we got to have. We can do whatever the hell we want to do, and everything gonna be peachy and creamy as long as we say we love the Lord. No, this grace period is a time period for us to get right.
Wanna have that same attitude.
That's the whole point behind having grace.
Yeah, the Most High do love us. The Most High sent His Son, and His Son gave His life to allow us to come back. But this grace period that we have, like the Christian church teaches that this grace period is something that we gotta have. We can do whatever the hell we want to do, and everything gonna be peachy and creamy as long as we say we love the Lord. No, this grace period is a time period for us to get right. Have that.
Man, it's working against us. It's working against us, man. We've got to come back to keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Let me get one more. Let me get this Matthew 6:24. We've got to come back to doing what the Most High has commissioned us to do. You feel me? I think it's Ecclesiastes when they say, this is the whole duty of man, and it's to serve the Most High. You feel me? Like that's our duty. You know, you take one of them one of them oppressors, and he go into the military, and he's going to take his duty, and he's going to stand on that duty with his life. You understand? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native, man, we got to do the same thing as it pertains to the Most High, man. Ecclesiastes. Come. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, the whole duty of man. And what's that? Matthew 6 and 24. Come.
The book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 24. No man can serve two masters.
No man can serve two masters, you understand? Like, we can't say we love God, you feel me, but then we're a friend to this world. We just read in James that it say, you know, if you're a friend of this world, you're an enemy to God, you understand? It say no man can serve two masters. Keep going, Bishop.
For either he will hate the one and love the other.
Oh, no, I can love everybody. I can love white and black people, you feel me? It's the person that matters, not who they are, you understand? Well, according to Christ's words in the New Testament, that's impossible to do. It say for no man. It say for either he will hate the one and love the other. You feel me? When we love this oppressor, we hate each other. We hate our brother. We hate the Most High, man. This is what happens when we love this oppressor. Keep going, Brother Sean.
Or else he will hold to the one and despise the other.
Or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You understand? This is what we see in our communities, man. We hold on to our oppressor. We hold on to the ways of this oppressor, man. And we despise the ways of the Most High. Like, July 4th is coming up. We all know that we were slaves when this so-called Independence Day came around. Like, we know that. But how many of us are going to be out there celebrating it? Shooting fireworks in the air, you know, eating crabs and shrimp. You feel me? Like, we know the history of our oppressor, and yet we still choose his ways, man. We choose to sin against the Most High, man. But here's the thing: the Most High is telling us, "You come back to keep my law, man, because you can't serve two masters. Either you're going to serve them, or you're going to choose them, or you're going to choose me." It ain't no middle ground here, you feel me? The Lord can't stand a man who straddles the fence. He say, "For I will spew you," he said, I'd rather you be hot or cold. But don't be lukewarm, you feel me? Lest he spew you out of his mouth, you feel me? Either you be on fire for the Lord and choose the Lord, or you say, you know what, I'm going to choose this oppressor and I'm going to rock with him, you feel me? And if that does happen, let me get one more scripture, brother, because Isaiah 31 and 3. Because you're going to have some that makes that decision, you understand? As unfortunate as it is, some are going to make that decision to choose this oppressor over the Lord, over the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our forefathers, man.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 31 and verse 3. Now the Egyptians are men and not the power.
Listen, the Most High is telling you, these Egyptians are men. They are not God, you understand? They are not me. You understand? These Egyptians, if you like, America is spiritual Egypt right now. So just like it was talking about them Egyptians because they were in power back in the day, It's the same way the Americans in the power today. So now the Egyptians are men. Like, we look at them as gods. The Most High tell them they are men. This so-called oppressor that we're under, he is a man. You understand? He's not a god. Keep going.
And their horses flesh and not spirit.
Listen, their horses are flesh and not spirit, man. Like, the Most High telling you, they can be touched, Doc. They can be brought down, Doc. Trust me.
That's right. When the Most High shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall.
This is very important right here, what we just read. It say, when the Most High stretches out his hand, you understand? When the Most High stretches his hand out against this oppressor, it say, he that helpeth shall fall. That means for every black, Hispanic, and Native American, you understand? When we try to save that oppressor, and we try to stand with him, when the Most High comes back to bring him judgment,
That's right.
if we want to stand with him, we are going to fall with him, you feel me? That's what the Most High is telling us right now. You can finish it off, Uncle Sean.
And he that is hoping shall fall down, and they all shall fail together.
Listen, that's heavy, man. Most High is telling you, listen, if you want to go to war with them, and you want to fight with them, and you want to be one with them, you want to choose them over me, when I bring them down, because I will bring them down, because they nothing but men. I am going to bring them down. They are nothing but men. I am God. The Most High said, listen, you want to help them, you want to sing Kumbaya with them, you want to get on that stage and you want to, you want to stand for them and give an account for them, you understand, and be their savior, guess what? You're going to suffer the same affliction of them, you understand? And like, unfortunately, this is the spirit of a lot of our people, man. This is why we have such a heavy work, and we need our people to get back in class, man, so we can learn what we got to do to come back into the graces of the Most High and learn how to serve the Most High, man. You know, we're not blaming our people because we know we've been misled. We know that we've been lied to. We know that we haven't been taught correctly. But you understand, like, but here's the thing: the Most High is sending His priesthood back into the earth. You understand? There won't be no excuse as to why we don't know what it is. It won't be an excuse to us not knowing what we got to do to serve the Most High, man. Understand? Like, we got to come back to keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, and we got to choose the Most High before we choose this world, before we choose any of these false gods, before we choose any of these religions out here, man. And with that, I want to say Shalom Israel, Shalom Baltimore, you understand? We at the Isupk, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, coming straight out of 1 West 125th Street, man. And we've been bringing this truth since 1969 that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true children of the Lord, man. And we got to come back to keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. And when we do, the Most High is going to take vengeance on these other nations, man. The enemies of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans will become the enemies of the Most High, and He will overthrow them overnight. You understand? Shalom. And at this time, we're going to have Priest and Officer 5000 Kawan Palat to come up and do the reading of the security announcements. Shalom, Israel.
Damn right. Shalom, Israel. Hell of a class tonight. Give it up for the teacher, man, who really went in on some key points, man, of the things that are plaguing black people today, man. And I salute the brother, salute him along with me. Let's give a brother a hand. Security announcements. We are the Isupk out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from their head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Pay your tithes, man. It's go broke for Israel. God damn. That's what Mosthigh Mayim said. Go broke for Israel, man. Make the sacrifice. Do it. You can find this in Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8 and 10. Means 10th in the Hebrew, and it's pronounced Ma'asherah. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher priest fund. That's a free will offering, man. If you like the way a priest is blazing it, if it resonates with you, man, you know, send the Lord something. $5, $10, something. Send it to that particular school, man, for that particular priest to, you know what I'm saying, to so that that school can benefit and keep that knowledge and those things going, all right? Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give, upcoming holy convocation, Salakia, remind Akim and Akwafim to check on social media such as isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, and or scarf. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel, Imazium Shabbat. Salakia, Imazium Shabbat, Imazium Barak, Yahaba Hashem Yahaba Shabbat, Yazimata, class dismissed.
Listen well to what I tell. No part of cause pain. Something that I remember know very well. Can't tell how I was sent from the Lord. Gotta sound like a two-edged sword.
Nobody tell you crap. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you a black man like me.
My whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had